You know that feeling when you step back into a place you swore you'd left behind forever, and it hits you like a punch you didn't see coming? That's what it was like when I rolled back into Tidehaven, the little coastal town where I grew up, the air thick with salt and the ghosts of my old man's crab traps. I've been gone 20 years, chasing storms of the Coast Guard, but now, retired at 45, I just want to plant my boots on the family dock, crack open some blue crabs, and maybe find a little peace. I wasn't looking for trouble, I swear. All I wanted was to bring back Dad's old crab stand, Ben's Tidehaven Catch, now rebranded with a crooked wooden sign that read Ben and Buck's Crab Shack. I spent weeks fixing up the rickety shack at the end of our dock, sanding down weathered planks, painting over the salt scars, hanging that sign with my name next to his, the ampersand wobbling like it carried all my regrets. The locals, the ones who remembered Dad's crabs, gave me nods or quick waves when I pulled up with my truck, buckets rattling in the back. But then there was Evelyn Harper, the HOA queen, strutting around like she owned the whole damn harbor, her lips pursed tighter than a clam at low tide. Tidehaven's a mixed bag of retirees with too much time, weekend yachters with too much money, and folks like me who've got salt in their veins and not much else. Evelyn ran the HOA like it was her personal fiefdom, her blonde bob as stiff as her rules, her pearls gleaming like she was about to inspect a yacht club, not a working dock. I'd heard about her before I even set foot on the plank stories of fines for unapproved flower beds or mailboxes 2 shades off coastal blue. So when I opened the stand, kept it low-key with just a chalkboard sign and a cooler of fresh crabs, I thought I'd fly under her radar. Big mistake. It started with a letter, all crisp and official, taped to my shack in a plastic sleeve like it was evidence in a crime scene. This structure violates Article 9, Section B of the Tidehaven HOA Covenants. Cease commercial activity immediately. Signed, Evelyn Harper, HOA President. I laugh at me dock, my family's dock, built by Dad's hands in '62, before this HOA even existed. I figured it was a mix-up, tossed the letter in a drawer, and kept cracking shells. 3 days later, she showed up. I was elbow-deep in crab guts when her shadow fell across the dock, sharp as a guillotine. "You're running a business," she said. "No hello, no nothing," her voice like a knife slicing through the wind. "That's right," I said, not looking up. "Same one my dad ran for 30 years. She crossed her arms, her white blazer flapping like a warning flag. "This dock falls under HOA jurisdiction. No seafood vending allowed. It attracts pests." I wiped my hands, met her eyes. "Pests? You mean gulls? Or you calling my crabs dirty?" Her nose twitched like she'd smelled something foul. "I'm calling it a violation. This dock's within our easement. You need approval, and you won't get it." I leaned in, just enough to make her blink. "This dock's been ours since before your HOA was a twinkle in some lawyer's eye. Deeded to my family, private land." She didn't budge. "Prove it, Mr. Callahan, or I'm filing a report, and you'll be fined." She spun on her heel, wedges clacking like gunfire on the planks, leaving me with a sliced thumb from my knife slipping and a fire in my gut I hadn't felt since my last storm at sea. That night, I sat on the dock, legs dangling over the water, the marina lights flickering like they were whispering secrets. I thought about Dad, how he'd hum shanties while sorting crabs, how he'd built this place to outlast him. I'd faced smugglers, typhoons, sinking cutters, but that letter, that smug little piece of paper, made me feel like I was losing him all over again. I called the county land office, got their voicemail, and promised myself I'd fight this, not just for me, but for him. The next morning, Evelyn doubled down. She rolled up with 2 sidekicks, Tom Grayson, a retiree who looked like he'd rather be golfing, and a younger guy, Nate, with an HOA badge pinned to his polo like it was a sheriff's star. "Mr. Callahan," Evelyn said, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. "This is your second notice. You're unapproved, and this docks within our 30-foot waterline easement." I snorted. "That's for landscaping, not my family's property." She slid a paper across my cooler $500 daily fines, starting now. "Shut it down voluntarily," Nate added, "or we'll escalate." I didn't take the paper. I just stared at Evelyn until she looked away. The impact was quick. Regulars stopped coming. Mrs. Delaney, who'd bought crabs every week, waved from her porch but wouldn't meet my eyes. "Evelyn said we could get sick, that you're not sanctioned," she mumbled. "Liable," she said. "Liable?" The word burned like salt in a wound. My crabs were the same ones they'd eaten for years, clean as the tide. But fear's a powerful thing, and Evelyn wielded it like a weapon, whispering rumors about mold, bacteria, anything to scare folks off. I dug through Dad's old storage bin that night, past ledgers and faded photos, until I found it. The deed, dated 1962, stamped by the county, clear as day. Our dock, parcel 4471, wasn't just ours. It was explicitly excluded from the HOA's map when they formed in '79. Evelyn hadn't done her homework, or she thought I wouldn't do mine. I felt my pulse steady, like I just spotted land after months at sea. The HOA's quarterly meeting was my chance. I showed up in my Coast Guard blues not to flex, but to remind them who I was. The clubhouse was packed, every folding chair filled, the air thick with murmurs. Evelyn ran the show, all smiles and agendas, until she hit unauthorized commercial activity. Eyes turned to me. She didn't say my name, but she didn't have to. "This seafood stand violates sanitation and zoning rules," she said, smooth as silk. "It's a liability, odors, gulls, health risks." I stood, slow, deliberate, and walked to the podium, laying out 3 documents like aces in a poker game. "This," I said, holding up the deed, "is my family's dock, 1962 private land. This is the county zoning map, showing it's outside your reach. And this, your own 1979 meeting notes, excluding my parcel from your control." The room went quiet, then erupted claps, cheers, a few gasps. Evelyn's face turned gray, her pearls suddenly looking like they were choking her. She didn't speak for the rest of the meeting. The wind felt good, but it wasn't over. The next day, my shack was trash chalkboard smashed, cooler tipped, bait locker pried open. No proof it was Evelyn, but I knew. I put up a camera, a new sign bin in Bucks, private property, smile for the lens, and kept selling. Then came her next move. A certified letter from her lawyer, threatening a lawsuit for trespassing, slander, even a photo of me showing a kid a crab, labeled unsanitary. Fines jumped to $2,000. I drove to the county archives, found a 1979 petition confirming our dock's exclusion, and filed a harassment claim with the city. Paul Decker, the legal liaison, whistled when he saw my evidence. "She's got no ground to stand on," he said. "Let's make it official." The second hearing was a circus. Local news showed up, bloggers too, and neighbors who'd avoided me were now nodding like we were buddies. I laid out everything: deed, threats, vandalism, rumors. Paul announced an investigation into the HOA for abuse of power. Evelyn tried to speak, but the room turned on her. Mrs. Delaney stood up. "I never complained about his crabs, but you find my wind chimes." Others joined in fines for benches, chalk, service dogs. Evelyn snapped, screaming I'd staged it all, throwing papers like a tantrum. She stormed out, her heels echoing like a retreating army. The next day, her resignation hit the paper. The dock became more than a stand after that. We hosted crab boils, poetry nights, veteran memorials. A mural went UPA giant crab with "Welcome Home" painted across it. The HOA got quieter, new board members actually listened. Daniela, a neighbor from another community, came to me fighting her own HOA over wildflowers. I gave her my documents, told her the dock was hers too. She won her hearing, sent me a photo, grinning with her approval form. One morning, I found a letter from Evelyn. No apology, just a note saying she'd resign because she saw she'd been wrong not about me, but about control. I burned it, let the ashes sink into the harbor. Forgiveness isn't always about keeping things. Sometimes it's letting them go. Now, the dock's a live music on Fridays. Kids learning to tie crab lines. Couples saying vows at sunset. It's not just mine anymore, it's Tidehaven's. I stood there one dawn, coffee steaming, the water calm, and whispered to Dad, "I'm still watching over it." The breeze answered, and I swear I felt him nod. What do you think? Did I push too hard? Or was Evelyn the one who crossed the line? Ever had to fight for something that was rightfully yours? Drop a comment, share your story. Let's keep this dock open for everyone.